beginnings and the conclusions. This book was written to give you the truth about Sasquatch without information overload, to equip you with the knowledge to help you understand what you witnessed and give you tools that will help you cope with the experience, remove the fear, and allow you to move forward with your life. Answer all the questions that are running through your mind and keep you up at night. I am no expert on the subject of Sasquatch. The term expert means one has nothing else to learn about a subject.
Of course not. This is the HIMSS topical finasteride in
Good old fashioned fucking commercial, man.
I started my treatment 4 months ago and I am blown away.
You just have to apply it once a day. I tried pills, I tried serums, I tried helmets that emit lasers, nothing else worked.
I can't believe how well this has worked.
Everyone needs to know about this stuff.
All you have to do is fill out an intake form. A licensed provider will review your information. If prescribed, your treatment gets sent to you.
I only wish I had found this sooner.
Hiking a back trail some miles up in a national state park in New England, and I was quite some distance away from anything or anyone. I approached a pond after a long hike up a logging road that had a beaver hut in the middle of it, and I decided to take a rest. I sat on the side of the bank watching the water and looking at the wind and the trees. It was a sunny, beautiful day, and I was happy to be up there hiking. Just as quickly as I got situated to rest and take in the view, I heard some crackling in the brush behind me in the forest across the road. I got up and walked out to the middle of the road. I made it safely back to my vehicle and I left. 3 weeks later, I went back. On my trek up the backside of the dam, I heard yet again the cracking of branches off to the right side in the woods a short distance away. I stopped dead in my tracks and looked in that direction with a focus I had never had before. I didn't see anything, but the branches breaking continued. I started walking slowly down the road and peering into the trees to find what was making the racket. And there it was, for the most part, to get you to leave the area. I now know that they are there, and I have a sense of their strength and power. This creature has put me in awe of their very existence. I will continue to hike the forest, and I hope to see one again someday soon. Here's a cool story from Daniel, and here's what he writes. It was the summer of 1989. My name is Daniel, and you're welcome to use my name. I am now disabled, and I live in the state of Georgia. This occurred right on the Pacific Crest Trail in Oregon, and the Three Sisters loud breathing, which I could only associate with a large animal. By that time, I became alarmed. I was sure that it was not a bear because I heard the steps from quite a ways off, perhaps 30 yards, and they were definitely bipedal. And bears do not walk like that for any extended distance. At this moment, I believed there were humans trying to scare us or rob us, so I grabbed my revolver, and out loud I said, "Don't come any closer, I've got a gun and I will shoot." The breathing. Fantastic. I love reading this story, and I hope you guys like it as much as I did. Kathy writes, my father was the second youngest of 10 kids. He and his twin sister were born in 1945 at their family home in Clay, West Virginia. He grew up being called Buckshot, and until I was 9 or 10 years old, I thought that was his Christian name. Although he passed away in 2017, he told the story many times before he died. My brother was with him when it happened, and he has never discredited. Started up the mountains towards the sound of the dogs. They had to cross a barbed wire fence, but they found the dogs at the base of a large beech tree. In West Virginia, these trees, with their pale, almost white bark, can grow to massive proportions. It can take 3 men with their arms stretched wide to reach around the circumference of one. Because of the tree's size and the fact that it still had branches of dead leaves to here and there, they thought they might have difficulty seeing the raccoon. Once the dogs were leashed and pulled away from the tree, however, they discovered they'd have no trouble spotting what the hounds had been and were of no use. Every 10 minutes or so, something slapped the side of the house or tapped on the window. Rick's nerves had just about reached their limit when he heard his wife screaming from upstairs. He ran up to find her, pointing at the window in near hysterics. I saw a face in that window, she claimed, but that was impossible. That window was 12 feet off the ground. Call the law, she pleaded. Do you think they're going to believe me when I tell them we have a 12-foot peeping Tom outside our window? Rick reasoned with her. They'll lock us up. After his wife screamed, there were no more sounds from outside. They were all able to get the kids settled down and into bed. But Rick and his wife stayed up the rest of the night. What's the sense? You think you guys over the water get ripped for seeing stuff? Try being over here, where most will just call you a Looney Tune. We are a nation that prides itself on our rationality, the old stiff upper lip, and all that malarkey. It may sound stereotypical, but that's just us across the pond. This is the odd thing. I know we have our fair share of weirdness in the United Kingdom, but this really took the biscuit, so to speak. I was camping out on Dartmoor National Park. We have a couple of cryptids around here, like alien instinct I had learned or have naturally, well, suffice it to say that my spider senses were tingling. Straight away, I went to the relative safety of my camp. Knowing there were other indigenous animals in that place, I already set up my alerts. I sat down and was having a couple of beers, trying to chill out, but I couldn't shake that feeling of being watched, tracked, or stalked. It had to be one of those, because I was at least 2 miles from my camp when the feeling started, and I still had it back at... I was at least 2 miles from my camp when that feeling started, and when I got back to camp, the feeling was still there. I was getting pretty freaked out by now. My mind was going 20 directions at once. Was it kids on wind-up? Nah. I actually think it had come to work out what my intentions were in the forest. I never believed in the wood-woes, that's what we called them in medieval times. But when I hear stuff like your wickedly awesome channel, I have to wonder. Besides, I know what I saw. It seemed in action, indeed not so aggressive or isolated as Bigfoot are over in the States, or as elusive as the Australian Yowie. Although I think they scent tag an area like most primates do, other than us. I only say this because the smell lingering that so few people in the world ever get to see. Here's an email from Christopher, and I got this about a year ago, and here's what Christopher writes. This is gonna blow your doors off. This is pretty crazy. I've been considering telling this story to someone for over 25 years. The main reason to talk after all these years is because I hear other accounts that don't jive with what I saw. I love your channel, and I picked you because of two things. I live in Georgia, and it sounds good to hear someone that could be my neighbor or uncle. You're also fair, and the stories are exciting, and I like your commentary on them. Now on to my encounter. Back in the early 90s, when I was a 20-something young buck, two buddies and I ran a huge plant nursery, and never been a clue to me, but I was young and dumb. I knew of Bigfoot, but to me it was something in the Pacific Northwest, if it existed at all. 200 yards away, I began to see the trees parting. They were getting knocked down pretty good, and the racket. I thought this had to be one of three things. It was either a man, a big hog, or a bear. We have bears here, but no one ever sees them. However, one bear made front page news in the local paper after it was found digging in a dumpster behind a Captain D's. But that was a while back. I kept waiting and wondering what in the world could make so much racket and push trees around like that. My treehouse stand was well camouflaged. I think he was looking for me. I know he was. I raised up to the shooting slot, and I could see him circling the stand. Half the time he was on two legs, and then he would drop down to all fours. It was just so strange. Finally, his head snapped around, and he looked right at me. He had found what he was looking for. He was at the base of the tree now. What I thought was a unique vantage point to observe an unknown creature was now a life-or-death situation. I eased back away from the slat, and I flipped the safety off my .30-06. And then the thing started to climb. I quickly moved back to the slat and I looked out and I saw its hand gripping one of the trees my stand was framed to. It was only a foot or so below me and I was panicking, I'll be honest. It appeared similar to dreadlocks. The hands looked human and they were tipped with black nails, but 3 times the size of my hands. Its eyes were a hazel color with a tint of green. The nose seemed flatter to its face than a human nose, but it also had a Roman shape that ended with a pronounced tip. It was handsome in a strange way. The lower jaw protruded a bit, and above its eyes was a heavy, protruding brow. There was virtually no neck, and the ears looked human except for the color.
All right. Happy Friday to everybody. That's my regularly scheduled, workout right there for my shoulder. Little shoulder work this Friday, not regularly scheduled because I ain't gonna say all the time, but a lot of times I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do when I come out here. I just know what body part I'm gonna work. Cause I had a couple of different shoulder exercises I was contemplating before I came out here, but settled on these. These felt pretty good. So we got that done. Tomorrow's Saturday. Be in a secret location tomorrow. More than likely won't be any filming. Probably won't film any. I don't know. We'll see. Probably not, but you don't have to worry because I'll be back here Sunday and I'll see you then. Not that you're worried. But I don't. Just rambling at this point, man. I'll see you guys for sure Sunday. Maybe Saturday, but for sure Sunday. So till then, y'all take it easy.